Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka G-Lawrence33. I am back here tonight with your official WWE Royal Rumble 2021 full show review and results for you guys. Thank you guys so very much for tuning into the podcast tonight. This is actually my first podcast in about a week and a half. It's been a while. If you guys have been following me on Twitter, I've been kind of updating you guys why I haven't been able to record any podcasts over the last week. So before we get into the Royal Rumble, I'm just going to give you guys a quick update of what's going on with the channel. So last Monday, I usually always go live on Monday night with the Monday Night Raw review every week, right? As I was setting up the live stream, during the Alexa Bliss and Asuka Rollins championship match, right, I was not able to go live. It wasn't letting me, right? And then I checked my email and my YouTube, and I got a notification about some copyright issue with another video. And because of that issue with the copyrighted video, YouTube had turned off my eligibility to go live. Right, so I haven't been able to go live for a week. Doesn't matter for podcast or any other kind of video I do on the channel. I can't go live, right? I can still upload normally like I always do, but I can't go live. So because of that, it kind of ruined the whole week for me. I kind of lost my motivation to upload this week, right? I didn't get that same urge I usually got because not doing the Raw review, right? Something that I always do every single Monday. It just ruined everything for me. So that's the reason why we didn't get the Monday Night Raw review, right? And, I just really haven't done anything this week when it comes to YouTube. I just been doing other stuff like school, work, stuff outside of that. But yeah, so this is basically my first real video uploaded in a week. And I apologize for that, right? Because you guys are getting no content on the channel all week, right? You guys are getting no anime. You guys got no Raw review, no SmackDown, no Royal Rumble predictions, nothing like that, right? I was going to do a Royal Rumble live stream tonight where we did a reaction to the entire show, but we're not even going to get that because I can't go live, of course. So feels good to be back recording videos for the foreseeable future, right? Until I get this issue resolved. This could be anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple months, right? For now, I'm just going to be uploading videos normally, just, for all podcasts. We won't be able to go live, unfortunately. If I can find a different solution, like maybe Twitch or Patreon, something like that, I'll try it until I'm able to fix things here on the YouTube end. But, that's tough because basically I would have to get all my subscribers, right, to, either be Patreons or Twitch. And, it's hard to get, almost 7,000 people to do that because that's how many subscribers we have on here. So I'm going to try to get the issue resolved, right? But for right now, all podcasts are going to be pre-recorded. I'm recording this right after the Royal Rumble, right? On a normal pay-per-view night, I would be doing this live, but for right now, this is the way it's going to be, right? We're just not going to have live podcast for a little bit. So forgive me on that. But we are here with the Royal Rumble review. I don't know what's going on with Sauriax. He's the guy who usually does all my layouts, right? As you guys can see, we still have the same old layout we've been using now for over a year. And, it's kind of disappointing because he used to always do the pay-per-view layouts, but we haven't had any for the last couple months, which is unfortunate. So I'm looking into, alternative methods for that because it's disappointing, right? For a big night like this, for the Royal Rumble, not to have a nice, cool layout for you guys, it's sad and disappointing. And I tried to get in contact with him, but he, hasn't been responding. So I hope everything's all right with him. But I'm going to try to find a new way to get layouts done. If you guys are good with layouts, right, WWE layouts, things like that, podcast layouts, my Twitter and my social media is down below. You guys can easily get in contact with me down there. I would really appreciate we can talk about, the details and all that over there. But, enough of the announcements. Let's get into the Royal Rumble tonight, man. And I gotta say, this was a really good show. To start off the year, this was a fantastic fantastic Royal Rumble. Outside of maybe one thing, I have no problem with what we saw tonight. This was a really good show. It was a longer show, of course, right? It was about 3 hours, 40 minutes. The show, actually, no, a little bit longer than that, 3 hours, 45 minutes, right? So close to 4 hours because, of course, you had 2 Royal Rumble matches. But the show was pretty good. Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg. You guys know I don't like Goldberg at all. They made it work, with what they did tonight. Very short, very to the point, right? Sasha Banks versus Carmella, another really good match between those two, which we'll talk about. The Women's Royal Rumble, which was really good if you ask me, especially the ending. Loved what they did with the Women's Royal Rumble tonight. Also, we had Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens, last man standing match for the Universal Championship. That was a great match as well. I loved what they did with that match tonight. And then finally, the Men's Royal Rumble match. The winner, if you guys have been listening to the podcast over the last month, I've been telling you guys, do not be surprised if Edge would win the Men's Royal Rumble match. And he did win the Men's Royal Rumble match tonight. And you guys should not be surprised. But the thing about it is, I have no complaints about it. I know some people are going to be like, isn't Edge a part-timer? He's not really a part-timer. He was injured. You know what I mean? So we're going to talk about Edge. We're going to talk about all that good stuff tonight on the podcast. But this was a really good Royal Rumble. A really good pay-per-view to start off the year for WWE. A really good show to start off WrestleMania season. So I got to give WWE credit. They did a good job. I read some reports saying that, they went deep into WWE rehearsals last night for the Royal Rumble, right? And, I could see that tonight. They did a really good job, with the surprises, right? I was surprised we didn't get to see any really huge surprises. There was no Becky Lynch. There was no Ronda Rousey. There was no John Cena. I was really relieved that Goldberg was in the Rumble, but there was no Brock Lesnar. Some of those really big names, right, that were rumored to be in the Rumble, they weren't there. But we still had some really good surprises tonight, right? Christian was probably the biggest surprise, if we're being honest. But all in all, this was a really good Royal Rumble, and now you can slowly start to see, we're still a long ways away from WrestleMania, but you can slowly see, things starting to form up a little bit, right? As we go through the months and the weeks, we're gonna get closer to WrestleMania. We're gonna see how this card, forms up. And I know WWE doesn't have all their plans together, but you can kind of see, where some of those big matches are gonna be, right? We know that WrestleMania is gonna be 2 nights long this year. And I hope that's the way it would be every year. We know for the next couple of WrestleManias, the one in Dallas, the one in LA, right? Those are going to be planned to be one night, but you never know. They could change it. That could change over the next year. But for this year's WrestleMania, which is the one we got to be focused on, it's going to be 2 nights long. And, if you look at some of these pay-per-view and these main events, I kind of like what they're doing so far. We still have a long ways away. We still have a long way to go before WrestleMania. There's tons of matches we still have to get through. But, I am excited. a little bit more than I was a couple days ago. And I got to give WWE credit. They did a good job with tonight's Royal Rumble, right? So we're going to get into the show. Before we get into the actual match card, I want to let you guys know, if you guys are new to the channel, leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you guys are new by hitting the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video, right? Any podcast, anime video, anything like that. You guys don't want to miss that. So make sure you guys have the bell next to my name selected, so you guys are always notified. Also, make sure you guys follow me on social media. Thank you to everyone who live tweeted with me tonight. Like I said, I wish I could have went live with a reaction stream, but I couldn't do that right now. Hopefully, in the next couple months, as we get into WrestleMania, things will be fixed and we'll be able to go live again. Take a nice sip of water and let's get going. So, on the pre-show, I didn't watch the pre-show, right? I never watched the pre-show at all. But the big match on this pre-show was Asuka and Charlotte versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax for the Women's Tag Team Championships. You guys know, if you guys watch the Monday Night Raw reviews, you guys know how I have not been a fan at all of Asuka and Charlotte, right? And the thing about it is, what's crazy here is Asuka is a double champion. But the thing about it is, the Raw Women's Championship hasn't felt important in her hands throughout most of her reign. And that's not Asuka's fault. That's WWE Creative's fault. And it's always felt like they've made Charlotte position to be the biggest star of this team. They have Charlotte, come out last, even though Asuka's the double champion, right? They're always having whatever Charlotte's whatever Charlotte's doing in other feuds. They always feel like they gotta make that much more important, than what's going on with Asuka. And it's always felt like they positioned Asuka to lose that title to Charlotte. Remember, we know that Charlotte beat Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship twice. At WrestleMania 34 a couple years back. And remember, the week before WrestleMania 35, Charlotte took the title from Asuka. So, and it still feels like they're doing that same thing now. And I'm worried that's what's going to be happening here, in the next couple of months. I hope, I hope I'm wrong. Especially with what we saw in the Women's Royal Rumble, which we'll talk about, of course, when we get there. But I hope I'm wrong. But right now, I would not be surprised if we see Charlotte take that title from Asuka over the next couple weeks, especially now that they no longer have the tag team titles as a result of this match. So I'm not gonna give you guys play-by-play commentary. I don't need to do that. But at the end of the match, one thing that was interesting is Charlotte had 2 different ring gears. Charlotte had a ring gear for this match, and she had another ring gear for the Rumble match, right? And so at the end here, right, Ric Flair and Lacey Evans came out to interfere, and Charlotte had Shayna Baszler in the figure 8, and Shayna was about to tap, but Ric Flair came out. I don't give a shit about Ric Flair. I don't care if he's a legend. I don't care if he's one of the all-time greats. I don't care if he's on your Mount Rushmore. The guy has no business. The guy has no business being in a WWE ring in 2021. He adds no value to the product. He adds no value to the show. He does nothing to elevate the ratings. I don't care if he's a legend. He doesn't do anything for the show. It's like what Charlotte said. And I don't believe I'm agreeing with Charlotte, but Charlotte said it best a couple weeks ago. He's a legend that has become an old man. He's not adding anything. He doesn't. I understand he's under contract, but he doesn't do anything for the show. He's wasted money at this stage of his career. He's wasted money, but you keep bringing him back, putting him in this feud with Charlotte, acting like, we're going to just want to see Ric Flair on our televisions. We don't. If I want to watch Ric Flair, I'll go to the WWE Network. I'll do something like that. But instead, you continue to bring him out in this feud with Charlotte and Lacey Evans, and it's not doing anything. All right. If anything, if Ric Flair was supposed to be elevating anybody in part of this program, it's supposed to be Lacey Evans, because Charlotte's already a star in her own right. Ric's the legend here. As much as I don't want to see him on TV, he should be elevating Lacey Evans. But Lacey Evans, I don't care about Lacey Evans anymore. That now that she's in line with Ric Flair in the story, I don't. Lacey's not doing anything for me. I've never cared about her, and this feud's not doing anything to make me care about her anymore. So why are we wasting our time here? Why are we going through this nonsense? It's a waste of time. Get him off of television, please. It's embarrassing. That's what it is. It's embarrassing at the end of the day. Nobody cares about it. Nobody wants to see it. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Nobody cares about Ric Flair in 2021. You could try to say, oh man, Ric Flair, he's just enjoying having fun. I don't care. We're not in this business to have fun. Business is business. We want to have a good show. And Ric Flair on television does not provide a good show in any sense. So get him off of TV, please. So at the end of this match, after the interference, right, Ric Flair gave Lacey Evans a knuckle duster. She used it to hit Charlotte in the face. Nia took advantage and hit the the leg drop, and they pinned her to win the tag titles with Baszler. I don't care about Nia Jax, but I'd rather see her as champion than Charlotte fucking Flair, right? So they're no longer the champions. This would carry on a little bit into the Women's Royal Rumble match, which I will probably mention here in a little bit. But the big thing here, right? Big thing here. Now that Charlotte and Asuka are no longer tag champions, there's no reason for them to tag together anymore, right? Build the Riot Squad up to take the titles from Jax and Shayna Baszler. I've been saying that for months. Do it. If you want to do it at WrestleMania and do some kind of a wacky storyline, I actually wouldn't have a problem with that. You know? If you want to have the Women's Tag Team Championships defending on the pre-show of WrestleMania with the Riot Squad getting a big moment there, go for it. You're not seeing any complaints from this podcaster. But the Riot Squad should have won those titles ages ago. So do what you should have done ages ago and give them the tag team titles. And have them go down to NXT and face the winners of the Mae Young Classic. I've been saying that now for ages. Yeah, also, you know, Asuka wasn't on the show tonight. Outside the pre-show, of course. She wasn't in the main card at all. All right, so what did you do with Asuka going forward? I'm scared. I'm terrified that you're going to have Asuka drop that title to Charlotte. I hope I'm wrong. But, you know, I got to be honest. The Raw Women's Division did take some steps up tonight, right? Naomi came back in the Women's Royal Rumble match. She was the number 2 entrant. She came back tonight, and remember, she was drafted to Raw. You know, I know some people want to see her on SmackDown. I'm one of those people, right? You know, once Jimmy and Jay rejoin Roman Reigns, you know, with the Tribal Chief faction, I would have no problem with Naomi being a female member of that group if they want to do something like that. Maybe you trade Naomi to SmackDown and send Bayley to Raw. Maybe do something like that. But, you know, right now, Naomi's on Raw. Naomi is clearly going to elevate the Raw Women's Division. Rhea Ripley made her debut tonight on the Women's Royal Rumble for the main roster, right? We don't know if Rhea's going to be on Raw or SmackDown. My guess right now, we'll probably have confirmation when we go watch Monday Night Raw tomorrow night. But my guess would be that we'll probably have Rhea Ripley on Monday Night Raw, and Monday Night Raw makes sense for her. And if you add Naomi and Rhea Ripley to the Raw Women's Division, I'm not going to lie. That's what the Raw Women's Division needs. The Raw Women's Division has been complete garbage since the WWE draft back in October. This would be perfect, especially going to WrestleMania season. This would be the perfect the perfect boost for the Raw Women's Division, right? You have Asuka as your champion, no matter how long she's keeping that title. Then you have Charlotte, right? You know, Charlotte's still a star. As much as I complain about her, she's a star. You have Alexa Bliss, who's doing the best work of her career right now, and that should continue. I would have no problem with Alexa Bliss winning the Raw Women's Championship with the character she's portraying right now. You add Rhea Ripley in there. You have Naomi in there, right? You actually have that's a decent women's division right there. And then, of course, you have your filler with Peyton Royce and Nikki Cross and Lacey Evans. But, all in all, you would have a decent Raw Women's Division right there. Headlined by Asuka, Alexa, Charlotte, Naomi, Rhea Ripley. That's a pretty damn good division, right? And, SmackDown, they're doing their thing right now with Sasha as the leader. So, yeah, and think about it is, I'm willing to bet Becky and Ronda Rousey are going to be back. It hasn't happened yet, and I know Becky and Ronda weren't in the Rumble tonight, but you think about it, bro. If Becky and Ronda do come back, Becky would probably be moved to SmackDown because Seth is over there. Maybe Ronda would be put on Raw. All right, but maybe, since Becky and Ronda are rumored to be facing each other at Mania in a singles match, right? Maybe they would do some cross-promotion type thing, whatever. You could decide if you want both of them on SmackDown, right? Or maybe one on Raw, one on SmackDown. But, this could be a really, really, really big boost to the women's division going forward. All right, so the Women's Royal Rumble did a good job tonight of at least elevating the Raw Women's division, which needed a big boost, and it got that boost tonight with Rhea Ripley and Naomi. So the Raw Women's division, hopefully for Asuka, going to WrestleMania season, she actually has something big, going for her. I don't want to see Charlotte winning the title, even though I'm afraid that's what's gonna happen here. We'll just have to wait and see, right? But I'm actually very happy for the women's division, after tonight, especially for the main roster players. So we'll see. Hopefully this actually gives Asuka what she needs, because the last couple of weeks I've been happy with what Asuka's been doing with Alexa Bliss. And now with all this added, superstardom, right, with Naomi and Rhea Ripley, that should help Asuka go into WrestleMania season if the plan for her is to stay Raw Women's Champion, which I hope. So let's get into the main card. So the show opened up, right? I thought the show was going to open up with either Sasha versus Carmella or with the last man standing match with Roman and KO. The show started off with Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg for the WWE title. This has been a match I have been terrified for, right? Terrified for weeks because of Goldberg. They've been playing it up on Monday Night Raw how, Goldberg's going after the only title that he hasn't won, right? The only world title that he hasn't held in WWE, right? And we've heard all this stuff potentially of either Goldberg winning the Rumble or Goldberg winning the WWE Championship and maybe going for a unification match with Roman at Mania. There's been a lot of rumors. Now I'm hearing rumors that it could potentially be Goldberg versus Cena at Mania if Cena comes back. I love John Cena. I want to see him eventually get number 17. But that could be the case. We don't know. But there was a lot riding on this match tonight. If Goldberg had won this match to open the show, that would have put a sour taste in everybody's mouth going into the Rumble matches. And I know none of you guys are going to complain about that, because I know you guys agree. If Goldberg had won the WWE Championship match tonight against Drew McIntyre, that would have ruined the show for everybody, even if we got the great show we got tonight, right? Because all you would be thinking about coming out of the Rumble is, okay, are we going to get Edge versus Goldberg at WrestleMania? Right? Or is Goldberg going to go challenge Roman Reigns to a unification match so WWE can blow their load on the Roman and Goldberg match they didn't get last year for WrestleMania? So those would be the questions we would be asking ourselves in the review tonight if Goldberg had won. Luckily, we will not have to ask those questions, right? If they want to go the Goldberg versus John Cena route, so be it, right? Even though I want to see John Cena go for number 17, and I would have no problem with John Cena versus Roman Reigns or John Cena versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Both matches would be a banger, of course, but right now, we don't know what's going to be the WWE Championship match after tonight. But Goldberg didn't win, and that's probably the biggest blessing coming out of this show. And I feel like all you guys would agree with me, right? So Goldberg came out. He was wearing black shorts. Very, very weird. He wasn't wearing black tights or anything like that. He was wearing, full-on black shorts, right? Before the match even began, McIntyre delivered a headbutt, and he actually hit a spear. I thought McIntyre was going to hit a Claymore kick, but he didn't hit a Claymore here. He went straight for a spear. I don't blame him for it. It was whatever, right? But I did like how McIntyre came out wasting no time, especially, right as the bell rang. I love cold water. Anyway. So the fight went outside the ring. Goldberg speared McIntyre through the barricade. McIntyre was holding his ribcage, and that scared me because I was like, oh no. This is going to be the downfall of Drew McIntyre in this match, right? Because the way he was holding that ribcage and the way they were playing it on commentary, it was like, uh-oh. Right, we got to be worried. We got to be worried here for McIntyre. Excuse me. So Goldberg waited in the ring. McIntyre was able to get back to his feet, right? So we got into the ring. The match officially started. McIntyre hit a Claymore on Goldberg for a 2 count. Then McIntyre went for a second Claymore. Goldberg ducked and hit him with a spear. Then he hit a second spear. This was the third spear of the match, right, from Goldberg. Hey, this was actually the fourth spear of the match in general, if you remember the spear that McIntyre hit to begin the match, right, before the bell. But this was Goldberg's, third spear of the match. Then he went for a jackhammer, which actually looked pretty decent, right? We've seen in the past how much Goldberg has struggled doing a jackhammer on, Undertaker or, The Fiend, like last time we saw Goldberg in a ring. But we saw Goldberg, he delivered a jackhammer, and it looked pretty decent. All right, it wasn't the best jackhammer ever, but he was able to get McIntyre, up cleanly and slam him down to the ground. So McIntyre still kicked out at 2, and I was like, oh, because this was a close 2 count. Because I was watching with my boys in Discord, and I was terrified for his sack when he hit that jackhammer. So I'm glad that Goldberg wasn't able to finish McIntyre off there. So Goldberg went for a fourth spear. McIntyre dodged it, hit another Claymore for the win. 1, 2, 3. After the match, the two ended with a handshake to show their respect for each other. We knew this was not going to be a 20-minute classic, right? Goldberg's never been known for those long matches. This is the way every Goldberg match has gone. No matter if it's against Brock Lesnar or The Undertaker or KO or The Fiend or Braun Strowman or what we saw tonight with McIntyre. Every match for Goldberg is going to be less than 5 minutes. It's going to be short. The best one they did was against Lesnar at WrestleMania a couple years ago. This was kind of similar. The match wasn't terrible or anything like that, but you know what you're getting with this version of Goldberg every single time. You're not going to get anything special. It's going to be spears and jackhammers. I'm just happy that Goldberg didn't win because you guys know, fuck Goldberg. I don't have to remind you guys how much I hate Goldberg, right? The guy's a prick. But I'm happy that he did not win the title tonight. Because if he had, that would have ruined my entire mood, especially with tonight's review. So I'm happy he did not win the WWE Championship, right? I don't care for Goldberg. I don't want to see him again. If we get Cena versus Goldberg at Mania, I hope Cena beats Goldberg's ass. I hope so. Because that's a match we've never even gotten, if you think about it, Even though Goldberg at this stage of his career is nowhere near able to put on a classic match, right? And remember, Goldberg and John Cena, they're not really ring technicians. Cena, he can give you a good match if he's in there with the right guy, right? Like a CM Punk, a Daniel Bryan, an AJ Styles, right? But him and Goldberg, they're more just power wrestlers. So if we do get that match in Mania, it's going to be interesting to see if Cena, because Cena would probably have to carry Goldberg in that match. So it'll be interesting. But, we'll see what happens. I don't see Goldberg versus Reigns happening. They can still have it happen. But I don't see it happening at this point. I think after tonight, we can kind of see what's going to be the plan for Roman going forward. And we'll talk about Roman when we get there. But, I'm just happy that Goldberg didn't win. All right, McIntyre is still your WWE champion. And, we can predict, right? And you guys will hear me say this a lot going forward as we enter WrestleMania season. We can most likely predict that it's likely that McIntyre will most likely walk into WrestleMania as the WWE champion. Remember, we still got 2 more pay-per-views before WrestleMania. We have Elimination Chamber and we have Fastlane. So we have the Chamber in February, and then we have Fastlane in March, and then we have WrestleMania a couple weeks after that. So we'll see what happens with those 2 shows, but I think it's likely that McIntyre will walk into the Mania as champion. The question is, do we get McIntyre versus Edge after Edge won the Rumble tonight, which I think is likely, right? Or do we get something else like McIntyre versus Sheamus, right? Or McIntyre versus, Brock Lesnar if Brock Lesnar comes back, or McIntyre versus Cena. There's options there for McIntyre, but the most likely scenario right now is McIntyre versus Edge, which of course I'm not complaining about, but that would be babyface versus babyface. So I don't know what you would do there in terms of a story, right? But it'll be interesting. We'll get there when we get there, right? We still don't know what they're going to do specifically, but I think Edge versus McIntyre right now is the most likely thing that we're going to get. But I am happy that Matt Carey did retain the WWE Championship tonight, and we'll figure out the rest going forward. Next up, we had the best in the world, the greatest of all time, my GOAT, Sasha Banks. She went up against Carmella, defending her SmackDown Women's Championship, right? This was the second match, these two have had, or the third match. Remember, they had a championship match on SmackDown, but this is the third match, they've had for the women's title, second one on pay-per-view. Remember, they had an absolute banger on TLC. Easily, in my opinion, Carmella's best match on the main roster, if you ask me. This was a good match tonight, but I will say their TLC match was probably a little bit better, right? But Sasha took down Carmella early here. Sasha had like I don't know what kind of ring gear to call it. It was a white and like dark brown, like maroon color, right? I couldn't find anything, to really call it. But, it was a nice ring gear. It's not, my favorite of Sasha's ring gears, the last couple ones that Sasha's had over the last months have been, absolute banger. No matter if it was like the Hardy Boys one or, the blue and yellow one. She had a Survivor Series, right? Or the one she wore at TLC, the gold one, right? She's had some absolute bangers over the last couple months. This is not my favorite one, right? It's one, maybe it's a little bit lower, but it's not a bad ringer at all, right? Sasha still looks beautiful. She's still amazing. You guys don't need me to say this, right? You guys already know this. But anyway, getting into the match itself, right? Carmella had her red ring gear on with Reginald at ringside. So basically, Sasha took Carmella down here with a waist lock. I love Sasha was like, I see you, Reginald, don't get involved. It's like Sasha has kind of like a healthy respect for Reginald after, the match they had, the intergender match they had on SmackDown a couple weeks back. So Reginald got on the apron, Sasha knocked Reginald off it. But then Carmella was able to take Sasha out at ringside. Carmella then did her, her elbows in the corners. She grounded Sasha in a real headlock, but Sasha broke free. Sasha then hit a Meteora from the corner, but it looked like Sasha hurt her knee, but that's the Sasha selling. Of course, we know how good Sasha is. Carmella then used Sasha's hair to tie her to the bottom rope so that she could stomp her into the mat and, talk some shit, right? So I did like how Carmella tied Sasha's hair to the ring mat, right? Because, that is, some nice heel work there, Then we see Sasha, she started making her comeback. Let me see, I got a text message. All right. Sasha got the upper hand, did her comeback. She hit the trio suplexes, right, to pay homage to Eddie Guerrero. Then Carmella threw Sasha outside the ring into Reginald's arms, but Sasha took Reginald out with a head scissor. Then the ref, banned Reginald from ringside, so this made it just a straight up one-on-one. So then this was a scary moment. So Carmella went for a suicide dive, right? But, she mistimed it. It was a big botch. Sasha saw it and was able to catch Carmella right on time. If you go back and look at it, Sasha actually goes to check on Carmella right after that spot. So I got to give Sasha credit here because if she wasn't there, right, Carmella could have broke her neck. That was, those suicide dives, just because they're professionals, it's never easy. You see, if you guys see Big E do a suicide dive, man, I cringe every time he does it because the fact that he's never hurt himself, seriously doing that spot, it's crazy. So I got to give Sasha credit. Another reason why she's the GOAT, man, right? Saving her opponents from injury. So after that, we saw Carmella put Sasha back in the ring, scored a 2 count. Sasha went for a frog splash. Carmella blocked it with her with the knees. Then she locked Sasha in the code of silence. Sasha escaped. Carmella remained controlled by hitting a super kick. Sasha then had the bank statement applied, and Mella had no choice but to tap out. So this was a good match, right? It was never really a surprise that it was never going to be a surprise that Sasha. It was never going to be a surprise that Sasha was going to retain, right? It was not a surprise. We all expected Sasha to retain. This was, a great match. It was not better than their TLC match, but it was a great match. Carmella has grown a lot through this feud. She's gotten better, on the mic. She's also grown in the ring. Part of that, of course, is when you wrestle the best in the world, like Sasha Banks, you're gonna get better. Sasha can't have a bad match with anybody. We've seen her do a great intergender match with Reginald. She's elevated Carmella and so many others in the process. I say this all the time. How many times, if you ask any of the superstars in that locker room, right? Alexa, Nia, Ruby Riott, Carmella, Bayley, right? All of those names who have wrestled Sasha, most of them would tell you that their matches with Sasha was their best on the main roster because Sasha is that damn good. So you can have a good match with a paper bag, right? See, so even Sonya Deville, if you guys were watching the kickoff show, Sonya was singing Sasha's praises. And I'm hoping at some point we do get a Sasha versus Sonya Deville feud. Maybe we get that over the summer, right? I'm kind of hoping for something like that. But right now, man, Sasha's on the top of her game. She's putting on classic. This should be the end of the feud. I know some people are like, oh, maybe we get Sasha versus Carmella at one more pay-per-view. No, I'm done. I think we've had enough of it, right? As good as the matches are, I think it's time for Sasha to be given something else. Sasha's been, one of the best things in WWE. She's been carrying SmackDown on her back along with Roman Reigns, and she's done the best she could with what many considered a filler feud with Carmella over the last 3 months. Because remember, they were feuding since before Survivor Series, back in November. So it's been close to 3 months. I think it's time for something new for Sasha, especially now as we start to enter WrestleMania season, man. But either way, man, this was a really good match. Carmella's grown. What I think Carmella's going to go do next, I think Carmella should probably go feud with Bianca Belair, right? Because Bianca's going to need something to do, especially after winning the Rumble tonight, which we'll talk about in a little bit. In terms of Sasha, it's going to be interesting, because remember, we still have 2 more pay-per-views before WrestleMania. Do you have Sasha defend at the Elimination Chamber in an Elimination Chamber match? Or do you have Sasha defend against a new opponent, right? So, I don't know. Right now, you look at the SmackDown Women's roster, I think I would like to see Sasha feud with Sonya Deville. You could... Excuse me. I would like to see Sasha feud with Sonya Deville over the next couple months, right? Because clearly, it looks like right now, the most likely bet would be Sasha versus Bianca at WrestleMania, which I will keep saying. I'm going to do a bonus video on this. I'm thinking maybe Wednesday, hopefully, right? But what I was going to say is, you should be doing Sasha versus Bianca at Mania with Sasha winning. And there's a big reason for that, right? And part of that is Sasha's never won a match at Mania. So, and we'll talk about that in the next couple of weeks as we get, deeper and deeper in the WrestleMania season. But they get Sasha from now all the way to WrestleMania with her date with Bianca Belair, which is fucking amazing, man, just to think about. I think a feud with Sonya Deville would be really good for Sasha over the next couple of months. Sasha's going to need something to do, and I feel like her feuding with, Sonya Deville would be great. I've been wanting Sonya Deville to get a bigger spotlight, and if Sasha can elevate Carmella the way she has in the last couple of months, Sasha could easily do the same thing with Sonya Deville, right? There's also other names. You could do Liv Morgan if you want. You can do Ruby Riott. Maybe you do something with Natalya, right? Even though I'm not all the way there with Natalya, but you never know. If Naomi ends up getting traded to SmackDown, I would love to see a Sasha versus Naomi match. That's a feud I've been wanting to see for a very long time. So there's options. There's options right now, right? But we'll see. We'll see, right? Our next pay-per-view is the Elimination Chamber, so we'll see if Sasha defends inside the chamber or if she has an actual feud. But I am excited for Sasha going forward to see what happens, because remember, we still have about 2.5 months till WrestleMania, but I am happy Sasha retained tonight, and I'm excited to see what's next for her as we enter, or as we continue through WrestleMania season, right? Moving on, we're going to get into the Women's Royal Rumble match, right? This was a really good Rumble match. It may have been even better than the men's match. It wasn't perfect. Neither one of the Rumble matches were perfect tonight. But, for the most part, I enjoyed this a lot, right? And they got the winner correct. The winner I've been saying for weeks now. The one I predicted. If you guys have been listening to the SmackDown reviews, I pretty much predicted who was going to win the Rumbles this year. Daniel Bryan was my pick. He was my pick. But my predictions, were totally different. And I'm happy, overall I'm happy, especially with the Women's Royal Rumble winner. Very happy. So we're going to get into it. So Bayley was the first entrant into the match. If you guys have been listening to the SmackDown reviews, I've been saying that Bayley and Bianca Belair should have been number 1 and number 2. They had a fantastic match Friday on SmackDown. If you guys missed that, go check that out, right? But these, Bayley and Bianca Belair have had a really good mini feud, right, in these last couple of months. And, I think the perfect way to kind of wrap that up would be here tonight in the Women's Royal Rumble, which they kind of did, and Bayley's doing a really good job. Even though she's no longer champion, she's been really good, in her role, continuing to, make people shine. She's helped turn Bianca into a megastar these last couple months, and she continued to do that tonight in the Women's Royal Rumble. And I know, I would have had no problem with Sasha versus Bayley at Mania. And this show, you never know, maybe Bayley finds a way into that match at Mania. Maybe it could still be a triple threat with Sasha, Bianca, and Bayley, right? But at the end of the day, I think, Sasha versus Bianca is the way to go as of right now. And Sasha needs to win at Mania. It's not even, an if. It's a must. It's a must. But we'll talk about that. But Bayley was the first entrant into the match. It was funny. I was on Discord saying it's going to be Bianca. Bianca's going to be number 2, right? And then Naomi was number 2. So I tweeted out that it's basically like an annual tradition at this point for Bianca Belair, or not Bianca Belair, for Naomi to return in the Rumble. Remember, she returned in the Rumble last year, had that huge spot. She did that again tonight. So, like I said, we don't know where Naomi's going to be going forward, if she's going to be on Raw or SmackDown, but it's good to have her back. And, she's a huge boost in that women's division. And I said I would love to see Bianca and Naomi as a tag team at some point, right? Not right now, but if they ever wanted to do that, that could be, that would be a fire team. But so Naomi was number 2. It was funny because everyone got at me when Naomi came out at number 2, right? But Bianca came out at number 3. I was like, damn it! If only Bianca came out at number 2 for me to, be right. But still. You guys get the point. So Bianca came on at number 3, and there was a funny spot where Bianca and Naomi, they were cartwheeling, across the ring with one another. So then Billie Kay came out at number 4. Billie Kay, of course, has that comedy role. She came out with her resume in hand. I was like, what is she doing what's her resume gonna do in this kind of match? But instead of getting into the ring, she sat with the commentary team, which was kind of funny. So Shotzi Blackheart, right? I've been saying she's the future of the NXT Women's Division. She is a huge babyface star down there, and I do personally believe that Shotzi Blackheart is gonna win the NXT Women's title at some point this year. But Blackheart, she came out with her tank, right? There was a funny spot where she kind of because basically what happened is Billie Kay was asking everyone that was coming out, each entrant, if they could be like her partner going to the match, so she would have a better chance of success. So she asked Shotzi, and Shotzi fired something out of her tank at Billie Kay. So Billie runs back over to the commentary team. All right. Baszler came out at number 6 and knocked Billie Kay down to the down on the apron. Toni Storm came back from number 7, and I believe Toni Storm is feuding with Io Shirai right now. So, there's a possibility that Toni Storm could be winning the NXT Women's title here soon, but we'll see. And Billie Kay continued to get ignored by Toni Storm, right? Blackheart here was the first woman eliminated by Shayna Baszler. Jillian made a surprise entrance at number 8, right? You always have these funny entrants, every year. So let me look. I lost my place in my notes. Yeah. So Jillian came out at number 8, right? She teamed up with Billie Kay, and Billie Kay finally got into the ring. So then Ruby Riott came out at number 10, and she agreed to work with Billie Kay. You guys know Billie Kay's been trying to make herself a member of the Riott Squad, which hasn't really gone well for her the last couple weeks. We had Victoria enter the ring at number 10. Peyton Royce came out at number 11, right? There was a small little iconic reunion here, but Billie forgot how to do the iconic pose because it had been a while, right? Which disappointed Peyton Royce. We had Santana, which I didn't know who she was. I don't watch much NXT women's matches, but I've heard rumors that she's actually, and I was looking at Twitter as well, there's some people that said Santana's really good in the ring, and she's kind of beautiful, I'm not going to lie. So I do want to see a little bit more of Santana Garrett, sooner rather than later. So the ring started to fill up here. We had Liv Morgan come out at number 13. So Billie Kay and the Riott Squad worked together to eliminate Jillian. But Riott and Morgan, they took out Billie Kay. So that alliance, that's it looks like Billie Kay's not rejoining the Riott Squad anytime soon. Rhea Ripley came out at number 14. And hopefully this means big things for her going forward, right? She was part of the final 3 in tonight's Royal Rumble match, which we'll get into in a little bit. But I'm excited. I did get happy to see Rhea Ripley. You guys know I'm very high on Rhea Ripley, and I hope now that she's most likely going to be on Monday Night Raw, I would love to see Rhea Ripley built up to win the Raw Women's Championship at some point this year. I don't know when, but, we'll see. We'll see, but I expect Rhea Ripley to be on Monday Night Raw. She could be on SmackDown. Like I said, we'll see what happens with Monday Night Raw tomorrow night. But I am happy, especially with the treatment Rhea Ripley got in this match tonight. Got me very, very excited. So we saw Rhea went on a little bit of a tangent here to start the match. She took out Toni Storm right away. We saw Baszler eliminate Victoria, and then Ripley also said Santana Garrett. I like saying that. So then Charlotte came out at number 15. So Bayley eliminated Ruby Riott with a brutal and beautiful powerbomb to the floor. Dana Brooke came out at number 16. Peyton Royce eliminated Liv Morgan. Tori Wilson made a surprise entrance at number 17. Ripley hit Dana Brooke with a powerbomb on the apron to eliminate her, right? And Rhea Ripley, that was a brutal powerbomb she hit on Dana Brooke. I hope Dana is okay, because I would not be surprised if, she was seeing stars a little bit after how brutal that powerbomb was. So, this pissed me off. Ric Flair came out again, doing the same exact thing he did in the pre-show match, which cost Charlotte and Asuka the tag team titles. He came out and he had Lacey Evans, and Lacey Evans was wearing Charlotte's robe, right? And Charlotte went after her as soon as Lacey got into the ring. So during this whole thing, Peyton Royce got eliminated by Charlotte. Baszler took out Tori Wilson, and Bianca Belair eliminated Bayley. Bayley's elimination here surprised me because I did not think Bayley would get eliminated that early. Bianca eliminated Bayley had no surprise. I knew it was either Bianca was going to eliminate Bayley or Bayley was going to eliminate Bianca, but I expect that to happen here near the end. I expected Bianca and Bayley to be like the final 4. Bianca was there. Bianca won the Rumble, right? But Bayley got eliminated early. I thought they were going to have Bayley, go all the way through from number 1. But she got eliminated here early. We'll see what's next for Bayley. Like I said, I would not be surprised if she's able to find her way, to swim her way into the SmackDown Women's Championship picture, right? Potentially maybe at Mania being a triple threat with Sasha, Bayley, and Bianca. But I don't know. If it's going to be Sasha versus Bianca, which it probably should be, just a straight up 1-on-1, right? What do you do with Bayley? Bayley deserves a semi big time match. going to Mania. I feel like we all know this. I don't think Bayley should be on the pre-show or in a battle royal. Bayley deserves a big time match. So I don't know. Maybe you have Bayley. I don't know. Really. Maybe a Bayley. Maybe she teams up with Carmella or something. Maybe she goes after the tag team titles. If Bayley's not in the SmackDown Women's Championship match at Mania, I don't know what you do with Bayley. Maybe you bring back a legend for Bayley to face, But it'll be interesting. I think Bayley, especially with everything that she's done for WWE, especially during the pandemic, right? Bayley deserves something big going to WrestleMania. If you're not going to have her in a title match, fine, right? But she deserves something. I don't know what it is right now, right? But, I'm hoping Bayley gets something big at Mania because we all know she deserves it, especially for how great she is. All right. So then Mickie James came out at number 19, right? She had dyed her hair and everything. So we'll see if Mickie James is actually going to be allowed to wrestle going forward. Remember, she was in the WWE draft. She wasn't drafted, but I believe she was sent to SmackDown. So maybe we get Mickie James versus Sasha in the next couple months. I don't know. But she did look decent in the Rumble. She did look like, she could still go at it. So we'll see. Then Nikki Cross came out at number 20, right? The ring started to get crowded again. Alicia Fox came out at number 21, right? And I was surprised by this. And then, R-Truth thought this was, the men's Rumble. This was funny. So R-Truth came out thinking that this was the men's Rumble match. And, basically he was being followed by the catering crowd, Humberto, Akira Tozawa, right? All those names. And R-Truth thought this was the men's Rumble match, and he got into the ring, but then Fox rode him up to win the 24/7 title. This was the wackiest spot of the night, right? So then Mandy Rose came out after that, and excuse me, I'm sorry, I apologize for the burping today. I'm not trying to do that, but anyway. Like I said, Mandy Rose came out tonight, and she went back and forth with Alicia Fox. Then she threw Fox over the top rope. R-Truth was waiting, on the outside of the ring to pin Alicia Fox to win back the 24/7 title. The funny thing is, R-Truth would lose the title to that jobber, Peter Rosenberg, right? That bald fuck, Peter Rosenberg, from the damn analysis desk, the pre-show desk. I don't know what was going on with that. But, Peter Rosenberg won the 24/7 title tonight. I'm willing to bet, probably if you go on YouTube, R-Truth probably won that title back at some point. But, that was your wacky spot of the evening. Then Dakota Kai came in. So good to see Dakota Kai from NXT. Then we saw Mickie James. Mickie James got eliminated by Lacey Evans, right? Carmella came out from number 24. So another instance of a competitor who had a title match earlier in the evening, now in the Royal Rumble match, right? Carmella took her sweet time coming to the ring. Reginald was, helping her with the mirror, drinking water, all that. But that was whatever, Carmella finally got in the ring. She threw Nikki Cross out. Then Tamina came out at number 25. They tried to play up some big altercation with Rhea Ripley and Tamina. Who gives a fuck? Tamina can't do shit at this stage in her career. So I was like, this is a waste of our time, right? And then we see Tamina super kicks Carmella out of the ring. Reginald, or not, that wasn't what happened. My bad. Carmella got thrown out of the ring by Charlotte or somebody. I don't know who it was, right? And basically, Carmella falls into Reginald's arms, right? And what happened is, basically, Tamina super kicked Reginald, but Reginald dropped Carmella before Tamina hit the super kick. So Carmella was already eliminated before Tamina hit the super kick on Reginald. So I was like, what? That clearly looked like a botch. And I was like, I don't know, but we'll see. Anyway, after that, we saw Bianca Belair and Naomi work together. There was a I forgot specifically how it happened. It looked like both Naomi and Bianca were about to get eliminated, right? But basically Naomi was on the bottom. She was in this, no, Naomi was in the outside of the ring, right? And she had both her feet up, right? So we all know that's, you can't get eliminated unless both your feet touch the ground. So we see Naomi grabs Bianca's ponytail using her legs, which is really cool. So she's pulling herself back up into the ring by using Bianca's ponytail. And then Bianca's trying to fight with Naomi to try to get her out of the ring. But instead, they figure like, why are we fighting? Let's just work together. So then they grabbed hands and they helped each other back in the ring, which was a really cool spot, right? So I did enjoy that. Lana came out at number 26, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I tweeted out a funny post saying that watch Lana win the Women's Royal Rumble. Imagine if that had actually happened. All right, but luckily that didn't happen here, so you guys don't have to lose your horses. But Lana did come out returning from injury. Alexa Bliss came out at number 27. I did like Alexa's ring gear tonight, right? So Alexa was in her she was in like normal ring gear, but you could tell she didn't have much makeup on, and she was acting like her normal Alexa Playground character, right? So basically everybody swarmed Alexa Bliss. I was like, wow, y'all gonna get on the 5 feet of Fury girl, right? You're gonna get on the girl that's barely 5 feet tall. So then Alexa was able to escape, and then the lights started cracking. So it looked like Alexa was gonna transform, but she didn't transform, because at that moment Rhea Ripley threw her out of the ring. So Alexa never got the chance to transform. So then Ember Moon came in hot at number 28. She did an eclipse to Baszler. Nia Jax came out at number 29 and eliminated Lacey Evans and Ember Moon right away. Then Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler teamed up, took out Naomi. They also took out Tamina, and then Nia Jax eliminated Baszler. Every woman for yourself, right? Natalya came out at number 30. And you guys remember, they had a match on WWE backstage to determine that that Natalya would be number 30. I hate that, First of all, Natalya doesn't deserve to be number 30. Who gives a fuck about Natalya? I say this all the time. Who gives a shit about Natalya in 2021? Absolutely nobody. Retire, please. But Natalya came out at number 30. I thought there was, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler actually attacked Natalya before she could get to the ring. I thought this was going to set up for maybe a Trish Stratus or, I don't know, maybe either a Becky or a Ronda. I thought it was going to be, the setup, an injury angle where Natalya's not able to get into the ring, right? And it allows some kind of legend to come out, But that's not the case. They didn't do that. So basically, Natalya was able. So basically, Jax and Baszler, after beating up on everybody, they threw Natalya into the ring, and I was like, "Fuck." So then, the final 5 was Natalya, Lana, Charlotte, Bianca, and Ripley. Right. So Natalya threw Lana out of the ring, and then we saw Bianca eliminate Natalya. So that was clearly a waste of a spot, right? Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, they took out Charlotte together, which got me hyped because nobody wanted to see Charlotte win her second straight Royal Rumble. Absolutely nobody, right? We all know Charlotte is the Roman Reigns, the babyface Roman Reigns of the women's division. So here we have the future of the women's division, Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair duking it out. And remember, Bianca and Rhea had some really good matches with each other down in NXT over the years. So this was really good stuff. Really enjoyed what I saw here. So they're fighting hard, and Bianca got the win. I believe Bianca hit the KOD on Ripley and then clotheslined her out of the ring. Very, very, very good Women's Royal Rumble. They got it right. The person I've been saying should win it. If it's not Bayley, it should be Bianca. And this was great. If you guys remember on SmackDown, after Bianca beat Bayley, she did cut a promo and she was exhausted. Because we know how good Bianca is at cutting promos, but she was exhausted and tired. But tonight, if they did the same thing, but it felt genuine because if you saw how emotional Bianca was, talking about her parents, talking about why she calls herself the EST, talking about how this is her dream and how she's going to WrestleMania. So happy for Bianca. They got it right, and a new star has been born. Remember when Bianca should have won at Survivor Series and they didn't? Well, they made up for that tonight. And Bianca, man, I got to give her credit. She was incredible tonight. Incredible. The emotion on her face when she pointed to the WrestleMania sign and all the power was going up and you saw how energetic and emotional she was. I was like, if you're not a fan of Bianca Belair at this moment, if this doesn't make you a fan of Bianca Belair, then you're not a fan of wrestling. I don't care what anybody says, because that was fucking tremendous. That was absolutely tremendous what they did tonight. And everybody should be clapping. Everyone should be clapping. That was really good stuff. Really good stuff. So the question becomes, what's next? Clearly, Bianca's most likely going to go after Sasha Banks. She's talked about it in interviews, right? Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. Absolutely crazy. I don't know what else I should say about it. If you guys think about it, all this black history that's, getting done. All this history that is getting done, man, with WWE and the Black History movement, right? The first black woman to ever win the Women's Royal Rumble. Sasha was the first to ever win the NXT and the Raw Women's Championship as a, black skin individual, right? Naomi was the first ever black skin SmackDown Women's Champion. And, you can go on and on. And now potentially Bianca and Sasha are going to be the first ones to ever main event a WrestleMania as, black individuals. That is incredible. That is incredible, right? And clearly WrestleMania is 2 nights this year. So I believe personally Bianca and Sasha should be the ones the main event one of those 2 nights, right? And I know you look at it, you got potentially Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan or Roman Reigns versus Edge, right? Or you're getting Drew McIntyre versus Edge or Drew McIntyre versus somebody else, most likely, depending on if, your champions remain the same going to WrestleMania. But damn, I believe Bianca and Sasha are going to absolutely tear down the house. They're going to give you one of, if not the best women's match of the year. One of the best women's matches in recent memory with a crowd. Because remember, there's supposed to be at least, right now, there's going to be at least 20,000 in Tampa Bay Stadium. Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, the Bucks, right? There's going to be all those people there for WrestleMania this year. And, they deserve the biggest stage possible. I believe Sasha and Bianca should main event one of the 2 nights. I don't know which one right now. We have no idea what's going to happen. But, they deserve it. They absolutely deserve it. And, there's a lot we could talk about. Some people are saying Sasha's going to have to turn heel, right? Because Bianca's clearly going to be, positioned as the babyface. You don't need to turn Sasha heel. All you need is Sasha to rev up her aggression as a babyface, right? Because Sasha as a heel and a babyface is the same character at the end of the day. All it does have Sasha have be a more aggressive babyface so that she can challenge Bianca. Because remember, Sasha's that ultra confident babyface, right? Who, perseveres through every challenge. So let's have Sasha be more aggressive here to Bianca, who's the, because now basically this match is you have the past and present of your women's division in Sasha, and now you have the future trying to take the torch from Sasha. That's the story of this match, right? And Sasha should win because he's never won a match at WrestleMania. I've already been saying for months that Sasha should hold that title till SummerSlam this year, and that's when Bianca should win the title. Sasha's doing a great job as champion right now. And Sasha's never won a match at WrestleMania. She cannot go 0-6 at Mania. That's definitely going to be a part of the story they tell, with Bianca here. have Sasha win at WrestleMania and then build Bianca up during the summer. Have Bianca either turn heel, win Money in the Bank, do something. But eventually, this should only be the first chapter in a Sasha and Bianca rivalry that should lead to Bianca finally being the one to dethrone Sasha at SummerSlam, right? But either way, man, we'll see how this story and this feud and this rivalry adapts and grows because we still had 2.5 months till WrestleMania. But either way, I am very, very happy with Bianca Belair winning the Royal Rumble match tonight. We all should be happy for Bianca. We all should. All right. Very good stuff here. Next up, we had Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens in a last man standing match for the Universal Championship. This was another good match. Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns have fantastic chemistry. This is how you do a last man standing match. Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns, if you look at it, when we look back at Roman Reigns' career, I think it's fair to say that Kevin Owens may be Roman Reigns' best rival. If you look at remember, they feuded in 2016 over the Universal title. They've had bangers and bangers over the last couple years, right? And this feud has been great. Their match at TLC, their match at the Royal Rumble, their steel cage match on SmackDown. They have fantastic chemistry with one another. And they always bring out the best, right? You can talk about Roman Reigns' best rival being Brock Lesnar or Seth Rollins or Dean Ambrose, right? But I do not think it's a stretch to say that KO may be Roman's best in-the-ring rival ever. I've never seen a bad match between Reigns and KO. They always tear the house down. No matter if Reigns is the babyface and KO's the heel, or if KO's the babyface and Roman's the heel, right? This was really good. Really good stuff. They always bring the best out of one another, and that was not there was no difference tonight with what we saw on the show. So, excuse me. So basically, the match started off. Excuse me. Reigns hit a Superman punch, but KO countered a spear and hit the pop-up powerbomb. They went out to the outside of the ring. Reigns hit another huge spear, but KO was able to get up by the count of 7. Reigns took the steel steps, and he started bashing Owens with it, but Owens still was able to keep getting up. Reigns hit him with a chair several times, but KO refused to stay down. Then we see KO was able to hit Roman with a couple of chair shots of his own, but Reigns kept fighting back. They ended up near the edge of the platform, so they were fighting up into the Thunderdome cameras again, right? Kind of similar to what we saw a couple weeks ago on SmackDown. And then eventually, Reigns threw KO off the platform into some tables. A near replica of the spot that they did a couple weeks ago with Jey Uso. I did think Jey Uso was going to get involved in this match, but he wasn't on the show at all. He wasn't in the Royal Rumble. And remember, Jey did say that he was going to be in the Rumble. So my guess would be that maybe Jey got COVID over the last couple weeks, right? I know that Keith Lee and Mia Yim, they did test positive for COVID-19, so they're clearly in protocol. So maybe that's what happened with Jey Uso, and that's the reason why we haven't seen him the last couple weeks. So I hope he is getting healthy and, feeling better. But just that was a quick note. So Owens did struggle, but made it up to the, at the count of 9. KO then made his way to the backstage area, and I love this, right? What made this match so good is that they not only fought in the Thunderdome, but they fought in the background of Tropicana Field, right? So when they went backstage, remember, they're in a baseball stadium. They're not in a normal arena. So you can see the backdrop of, Tropicana Field, all the other seats. Because remember, WWE Thunderdome is legit a Thunderdome inside an actual dome, right? So when they got out of the Thunderdome and they're actually fighting in the baseball arena, that visual is really cool, basically, Owens is struggling to get up, and we're like, "Where's Roman Reigns?" All of a sudden, and what was one of the best spots of the night, Reigns comes out of nowhere with a golf cart and runs KO over. And in the process of running KO over, KO hit the front windshield wiper, and the front windshield absolutely shatters. So that was a fantastic spot. Love that spot here. All right. Oh my. I was like, I need the gif of, KO getting run over immediately. That was really, really cool. So then we saw KO powerbomb Reigns onto a table. Then he put him through it with a frog splash, right? Then KO set up a forklift, and at first I thought he was going to raise Roman Reigns up. But instead, he climbs to the top of the forklift after elevating it, and then he hit a Swanton bomb. Another amazing spot, right? And the thing is, they had those Thunderdome drone cameras there, so that, those added angles made the spot that much better. Loved it. So then, after that, we saw Roman barely be able to beat the count, and now I'm like, is there a chance KO's actually gonna win the Universal Championship here? Because remember, I will say this: if it was anybody else, that was champion, if it was Seth Rollins or any other heel, right? AJ Styles or Bobby Lashley or anybody, if anybody else was the champion here, KO would have won that match. It's because it's Roman Reigns. That's the only reason why KO did not win this match. KO has been a tremendous babyface. The promos, everything he does has been great. It's because Reigns is the champion he's facing here. That's the only reason why KO did not win. If we weren't entering into WrestleMania season, if anybody else was the champion, KO would have won this match. Right? I want to see KO as champion again. It's been a long time. But, still, with the work Reigns is doing, it made sense for the match to end this way. So, basically, right, Owens is dragging Reigns back through the Thunderdome. And we see they got back on the stage. Reigns speared Owens through the LED wall. After he recovered, Owens was able to handcuff Roman Reigns. It was like on a stand, right? So he handcuffed Reigns to a stand. And basically, it was at the point where Reigns would not be able to stand up. So he handcuffed him at such a low point that Reigns would not be able to stand up no matter what he did. So it looked like KO was about to get the victory. And then all of a sudden, as the ref is just about to count to 10, Reigns grabs the referee and boom, but shoves him into a set piece, right? So I per storyline, I guess Roman's gonna have to face some kind of repercussion for that because he attacked the referee on purpose. It wasn't like an accident. He actually attacked the referee to stop, to keep him, to keep himself from losing the Universal Championship. So then he gave KO a low blow. And Paul Heyman, who had the key, right, because it was Reigns that brought out the handcuffs, he unlocked and freed Roman from the handcuffs. And it was kind of a botch because it took forever for Heyman to actually free Reigns. And the new ref, there was another ref that came out because Reigns took out the old ref. The new ref took forever to do his count because, if he had just done the count normally, Reigns would have lost. Right? So it was a botched spot, and that was the only down thing on this match. The only thing that kept this match from being nearly perfect. So after that, Reigns finally got out, right? And then Reigns put Owens in the guillotine, all right, and then choked Owens out and got the victory. Owens was able to count, to get back up, and Reigns retained in what was a really good match. No Jey Uso, so KO really could play about interference, right? Really good match, good way to end this feud. And I love KO, man. I wish if this was anybody else, man, KO would have won. I want to see KO as champion again, but there is no way Reigns is losing the Universal title anytime soon. All right? He's probably going to lose at WrestleMania, but, that's the only spot. I don't know what KO does going forward, right? I was hoping, I've been saying I would love to see a KO and Sami Zayn feud for the IC title, but that would also require Sami Zayn to win the title back from Big E. So I don't know what KO does going forward, right? This feud has made him a bigger star, and I hope he continues to get treated like a star on SmackDown. It's just that there was no way he was losing or winning that title from Roman Reigns. If he had won the title tonight, it would have been a short reign. They would have probably gave Reigns the title back at Elimination Chamber or Fastlane or something like that. But either way, good match. Great feud. Love these two together. And I hope, going forward, we'll see what they have planned for Reigns. If it's Daniel Bryan, if it's Seth Rollins, if it's Big E, right? Or if it's Edge, we'll see. But, either way, whatever they have planned for Reigns at Mania will be great. It's the only thing I'm worried about here is Kevin Owens. I want KO to still be treated like a star. So we'll see what happens with KO. All right. Last but not least, we have the men's Royal Rumble match, right? The men's Royal Rumble. This was another great Rumble. Was it as good as the women's Royal Rumble match? It's subjective. I don't think it was, but, we're all subjected to our own opinions, right? But this match started off with Edge and Randy Orton as number 1 and number 2. This was pre-announced. So Edge's entrance always gives me chills, man. I loved it. I loved his ring gear, too. So Edge comes out. Edge looks in fantastic shape, all healed and ready to go. And the thing is, Edge didn't wait for Randy Orton to come to the ring. And Randy Orton, he didn't have any of the makeup, right, from, the Alexa Bliss fireball incident. So he's fully healed, it looks like. So Edge didn't wait for Randy to come to the ring. Edge, decided to say, let's get this party started early. And he went right after Randy Orton. So these two started brawling. Sami Zayn came out at number 3 and helped Orton against Edge. Ali came out at number 4. So you had 3 heels here attacking Edge here early. Right? They weren't able to eliminate him. Jeff Hardy ran down to the ring, to help Edge. So Orton hit RKOs on everybody. There was a funny spot here where, after Orton hit an RKO on Edge, Sami Zayn and Randy Orton are looking like, Sami's like say, I like that. And Orton's like, I like your fire, man. And Orton goes all demonic and hits freaking Sami Zayn with an RKO, which was hilarious. But then Orton turns around and got hit by a spear. I will say this, the Fiend wasn't in the Rumble at all. I thought this was where the Fiend would make his return, right? He's been off television for a month. So, since Edge won the Rumble, right, if Randy Orton doesn't end up winning, the WWE Championship here in the next couple months, right, and we don't get Edge versus Orton for the title at Mania and it's Edge versus McIntyre or something else, maybe they're just waiting for McIntyre, maybe they're waiting for the Fiend to come back in a whole new form or something crazy, and they have some bigger match planned for the Fiend and Orton. Because it's Randy Orton. He's going to be in a big-time match going in the WrestleMania. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But, I am excited. I am excited to see what they do, with the Fiend. Because we all thought he was going to come back tonight, right? He didn't come back on Raw Legends night, and he didn't come back tonight. So, it's like, we'll see what happens here, with the Fiend. And if they have something bigger planned for him going forward. So Dolph Ziggler came out at number 6. Dolph Ziggler eliminated Jeff Hardy, right? While this was going on, Edge hit Orton with a glorious DDT, aka the execution, of course, right? Through the announce table, so that took Orton out for basically the rest of the match. Orton had never got eliminated, but basically he was backstage selling the leg injury, right? So Edge just went back into the ring. So we saw Carlito. So Carlito, all right, I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool. So we saw Carlito make his return back here tonight at number 8. He looks in beautiful shape. I don't know if he's going to be returning, for a small run here, but, definitely, man, he definitely looks in prime position if he wanted to. if he really wanted to, he looks in perfect shape to return to make another run if he wants. So then we saw Xavier Woods come out tonight. Speaking of the New Day, right? Kofi Kingston was there tonight in the Thunderdome, but he still is recovering from a broken jaw. So we didn't get to see Kofi pull off a special way to keep himself from getting eliminated from the Rumble like he always does every year. But I got to give the New Day credit, man. On their ring gear tonight, they had pictures of Brody Lee. So, definitely that I got to give the New Day props. We know that how close, especially Big E, or all three members were very close with Brody Lee. So, seeing them pay tribute to him tonight, man, applause for the New Day, man. Love them. All right, so back to it. We saw Big E come out after Woods, and they worked together to take out Sami Zayn. John Morrison came out at number 11. Ali eliminated Xavier Woods, right? And then Big E took out Ali. Next up, we had Ricochet, which, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, didn't Ricochet go up against AJ Styles and said that, basically Adam Pearce said for Ricochet to qualify for the Rumble, you have to beat AJ Styles. And Styles and Ricochet had a really good match, especially at the end where Styles hit that amazing Styles class after Ricochet legit ricocheted outside or off of the ropes, right? So I was like, that was kind of an insult to my intelligence. It was a small thing, but I was like, really? That's what we're doing? Like Ricochet should not even be in the Rumble match per storyline, but whatever, right? Whatever. Anyway, we saw Elias join at number 13. Elias took out Carlito. Damian Priest. So Damian Priest made his main roster debut tonight. Excited for him, right? He had a really good showing tonight. I think he eliminated like 4 or 5 people. He's 6'5" and huge, and you guys know how much Vince loves to jerk off the big man. So we'll see what happens with Damian Priest. I don't know if he's going to be on Raw or SmackDown, but definitely, he's main event, material. We all know this. So we'll see what happens with Damian Priest, but I'm excited to see what happens with him, man. Definitely, he looked really good in tonight's Rumble. Then we saw Miz enter at number 15. Miz destroyed Bad Bunny's gear on the stage. Bad Bunny did make an appearance tonight, right? He actually performed with Booker T aiding him. So basically, Bad Bunny actually came out and distracted The Miz, would allowed Damian Priest to eliminate both Miz and Morrison. Then Bad Bunny hit a suicide dive, or not suicide dive, hit a crossbody dive from the top rope, taking out both Miz and Morrison, so getting some revenge on that. Only in WWE, only in WWE. So Matt Riddle came out at number 16. Daniel Bryan came out at number 17. We had fucking Kane. Kane came out at number 17. I was like, wow. You guys know, if you guys have been listening to the podcast for a long time, you guys know I am not a fan of Kane at all. I do not like Kane. So, especially Kane coming out with that huge beer belly he has. Like, clearly he was not in shape tonight. But we saw Kane and Daniel Bryan did, hug it out. Like, you guys remember, that was their gimmick back in 2013. So that was a small little moment there. But we saw Kane, he took out Dolph Ziggler. He took out Ricochet. Then we saw Damian Priest get a big moment here when he took out Kane. So then we had King Corbin come out at number 19. He took out Shinsuke Nakamura, right? And then we have Otis. Like I said, it's good to have Nakamura back as a babyface. Hopefully Nakamura gets, I'll say this right now. We don't know what's going to be the set match for Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. My guess would be, because I'm assuming Edge goes after McIntyre, right? Assuming Edge picks McIntyre at Mania. My guess would be that there's going to be an Elimination Chamber match to determine who would face Reigns at Mania. You have Seth Rollins, that's potential, but we all know that should be Daniel Bryan. It should be Daniel Bryan versus Reigns at Mania. right? If you need a feud to keep Reigns busy in the meantime, I would do Roman Reigns versus Shinsuke Nakamura. You know, you have 2 pay-per-views. If you want to do a 2 pay-per-view feud with Reigns and Nakamura at Fastlane Elimination Chamber, and then have Reigns ready to go for Mania against Daniel Bryan, like what else do you need me to say? Do that. That would be perfect, right? So that's the match I would do to keep Roman Reigns busy. Anyway, getting back to the match, we had Dominic come out at number 21. He got eliminated by, Corbin took out, my bad. Dominic actually took out Corbin. So then we had Bobby Lashley came out at number 22, right? Lashley took out Dominic, and then he took out Priest. Bobby Lashley looked like a beast right here, you know? Then we had number 23, Hurricane, right? The Hurricane making his appearance. This gimmick is so played out here. But there was basically Hurricane. If you guys remember, you guys went back and saw WrestleMania 2002. There's a point in the Rumble where Hurricane tries to double choke slam Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H, and it doesn't work out. He tried the same spot tonight with Bobby Lashley and Big E, and it didn't work out for him, of course, right? And Big E and Lashley worked together, and they eliminated him. All right, and what may have been the biggest surprise of tonight's Rumble, we had Christian. Christian was the number 24th man. All right, and he reunited with Edge. You know, and this was really good. I'm very happy to see Christian actually back. You know, remember when Christian was supposed to face Randy Orton in that I forget what's the match name, but in that that street fight back on Raw last year, right? But the non-sanction match, that's what I'm thinking about. You know, that wasn't anything. You know, Orton punched the Christian right away. We actually saw Christian last a long time in this match tonight. He was down to the final 5, and then Christian, you know, I'm trying to think of something real quick. Hold on, give me a sec. Oh, yeah. Basically, like I said, Christian here, man, he looked good. He looked in real good shape. You know, he helped everyone eliminate Bobby Lashley. AJ Styles came out at number 25. Rey Mysterio came out at number 26. Almost eliminated Big E for Styles and threw him over the announce table, right? So Almost was helping Styles here, right? Sheamus came out at number 27, which we all know that's the lucky spot here. It wasn't the lucky number for Sheamus tonight. The lucky number was number 1. But anyway, yeah, you guys know what I'm saying. Almost also eliminated Mysterio, right? Cesaro came out at number 28. Seth Rollins came back at number 29. I had a feeling Seth was going to come back. We haven't seen Seth since Survivor Series because, of course, he was taking care of his wife, Becky, who they just had their kid. So, very, very happy for Becky and Seth, by the way. Becky will probably be back here before WrestleMania for a match with Ronda Rousey, hopefully. But it was good to see Seth. My boy Anthony, you guys know, the former co-host of this podcast, he actually texted me. He was like, oh, that's Seth's new music? And I was like, Seth's had that music for about a year, right? But it was good to see Seth, man. He does look like Seth did gain a little bit of weight. Seth does look good for the most part, but I'm not going to lie. Seth, it definitely looks like Seth put on a couple of pounds here since he's been gone the last couple of months, right? Because he's been out now for, a little over 2 months now? So, yeah, but it was good to see Seth. He looked in decent ring shape for the most part. And Braun Strowman, who returned on SmackDown on Friday. I forgot Strowman had returned on Friday. Braun was the last entrant. So, because I had forgotten Strowman was coming into the ring, I thought it was going to be Goldberg, which would have been terrible, or it was going to be either Brock Lesnar or John Cena, but it was Braun Strowman as the last entrance into the match here. Strowman took out Styles on the side where Almost couldn't catch Styles, right, which was kind of funny. And then we saw Rollins, which this was the spot that got everybody mad, right? Rollins was outside the ring, and then Daniel Bryan was down. So you could see Rollins was looking at Bryan. Rollins comes into the ring and then hits up Daniel Bryan with a huge stomp, hits him with a curb stomp, and then eliminates Daniel Bryan. And that got everybody sad, right? Because everybody had Bryan as the winner of the Rumble match this year. But we didn't get that. We're not, but, we can still get Bryan versus Reigns, but we're not going to get it via the Royal Rumble, sadly. But, we'll see. Remember, I think Bryan will probably have to win the Elimination Chamber, to get that match with Roman at Mania. And if that does end up happening, maybe they give a nice little side feud with Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins, to get us going before Bryan puts his focus on Roman Reigns. Maybe. All right. That's something that WWE could do. But we'll see, right? We still got a long ways to go here. But then we saw Reigns eliminated Riddle. Matt Riddle was an idiot. So basically, right? Basically, Seth is on the outside. He's on the apron, laughing because he had just eliminated Daniel Bryan. And then all of a sudden, Matt Riddle, right? Matt Riddle jumps to the apron, putting himself at risk. And then he attacks Seth. Seth counters, hits a stomp, and Riddle gets himself eliminated because his stupid ass decided to go on the apron. So they made Matt Riddle look dumb here, and especially that had to feel good for Riddle because we know Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins, they don't really like each other, right? So that happened. So the final four here, we had Strowman, Rollins, Edge, and Christian. So we saw Christian and Edge work together to take out Christian. Then Rollins took out, we saw Christian and Edge, my bad. We had Christian and Edge take out Strowman, then Rollins took out Christian, and then Edge threw out Rollins. But I remember the entire time that Randy Orton had never been eliminated from the Rumble, right? As soon as Edge threw out Rollins, right? Orton comes out of nowhere and hits an RKO, and you're thinking, oh gosh, everybody on my Discord was going crazy because we have a lot of Randy Orton fans in there, and everybody's like, Randy Orton's about to win the Royal Rumble, right? Because, Edge, who had been in there since number 1, right? He had been in there the entire Rumble. He gets hit by an RKO, and Edge is ready to throw him out. Or not Edge. Orton's about to throw Edge out, but right at the last moment, Edge was able to counter, use the last energy he had left, and take out Orton and throws him out the top rope to win the Royal Rumble. So I told you guys, even though Daniel Bryan was my pick, I told you guys, Edge is the number 2 favorite. If it's not Daniel Bryan, it's going to be Edge, right? I told you, do not be surprised. With the promo that Edge cut, the fantastic promo that Edge cut on Monday, I was like, come on, do not be surprised here. Plus, think about it. It's been 10 years. 10 years since Edge was last world champion. WrestleMania 27 in Atlanta. Remember, he defended the World Heavyweight Championship against Alberto Del Rio. That was his last match. His last match in WWE, 10 years ago. It's been 10 years since he was last world champion. Remember, they did the storyline with The Rock, when The Rock was the one who ended CM Punk's WWE Championship reign back in 2013. They're going to do the same story here, right? It's a pretty simple story. 10 years since Edge was last world champion at WrestleMania. And, it should be Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. And like I said, the WrestleMania card is looking really good now if you think about it, because you got, we could be getting Sasha versus Bianca Belair. Who knows what they're going to do for the Raw Women's Championship, right? And then for the, the Universal title, if it's Reigns versus Daniel Bryan, and if it's Edge versus McIntyre, because I think that's what's most likely going to happen. Those are going to be your 3 big matches: Sasha versus Bianca, Edge versus McIntyre, Reigns versus Daniel Bryan, headlining the 2 nights of Mania. That is wild. And you never know, you could have John Cena versus Goldberg, or who knows, maybe Brock Lesnar versus Keith Lee, right? There's a lot of stuff. That can still go down. We have a long way to go to WrestleMania. But if you look at it, right, if we're getting 2 nights of WrestleMania, this year you're probably going to have about 7 or 8 matches on each night, right? And right now, I'm very excited. I'm actually excited. Tonight's Royal Rumble had a nice direction. Bianca Belair was beautiful. Sasha Banks, retaining, and Edge winning the Royal Rumble. I know some people believe that Edge is a part-timer, but he's not. He's never has been, really, right? If Edge had gotten injured, I think he would have been part-time not part-time. He would have been full-time all year. Because Edge kept saying how he wanted to face guys like AJ Styles and Seth Rollins and all these other guys, right? And now we can actually see that happen. I don't know who Edge is going to pick. Edge versus Reigns would be a crazy story, right? Reigns would the heel, the tribal chief. Edge would clearly be the babyface. That would be amazing. Or Edge versus McIntyre. That's babyface versus babyface, of course. But, they could probably work out some kind of story there. But, either way, man, I'm excited. We still have a long way to go here. This is just the start of WrestleMania season. The road to WrestleMania has just begun, and there's going to be a lot more crazy stuff that happens. We're just going to have to be patient and see what happens. But, after tonight, I am very, very excited to see where we go with WrestleMania, man. Very excited. WWE did a really good job with the show tonight. This was a really, really good pay-per-view, right? Goldberg versus Drew McIntyre. The fact that just McIntyre retained was good enough for me, right? As much as I hate Goldberg and I don't want to see him in the ring, I'm tired of him having the same kind of match every single time. As long as McIntyre retained, that's all that matters, right? Sasha versus Carmella was great, Not better than their TLC match, but it was good. It got the job done. The Women's Royal Rumble was really good, especially with Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, the future of the women's division there at the end, and Bianca getting the win. Great job there. Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens in the last man standing match, another great match. That was good. And the Men's Royal Rumble match to end the show was great as well. I wish Daniel Bryan lasted a little bit longer, right? But, no complaints here. I don't have a problem with Edge winning. And now, we got to wait and see what do Bianca and Edge decide. It's most likely that Bianca's going to choose Sasha and Edge is going to choose Drew McIntyre, but we still got to wait and see. And we'll probably figure that out. We'll start to see the pieces, come together a little bit more with Monday Night Raw tomorrow night, because I expect Edge to probably be there in the Thunderdome to, announce what he's going to do. But either way, guys, that's all I got for you guys today, man. This was a good show. I got to give WWE thumbs up. A really good Royal Rumble, and the fact is, you guys got to remember, they did it in the Thunderdome. There was no crowd. No crowd, right? WWE, man, I got to give them credit. There was no crowd there tonight in the Thunderdome. And still, they were able to make it work. I was worried about the whole, crowd noise and all that, right? And having the basic countdown, but it worked. They made it work. Props to the superstars, props to the management team, the production staff, everybody. Tonight's Royal Rumble was a success. Let's just hope they continue this momentum going to WrestleMania season. All in all, this was a good Royal Rumble. If you guys enjoyed the show, all right, and the podcast, make sure to leave a like on the video. Make sure to comment, subscribe. You guys are new to the channel by hitting the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. I'm gonna get out of here. I haven't watched the Attack on Titan episode yet. And I heard it was crazy, so I got to go check that out as soon as possible. So I'm going to get out here and get that done. But if you guys enjoyed the podcast, like I said, this is the way it's going to be going forward until I'm able to go back live, unfortunately. So forgive me for that. But yeah, we'll just see, it's just going to be pre-recorded podcast for now. But, eventually we will be back to doing our live streams for now. So this, hang tight with me, guys, for now. We'll fix everything in the coming months. But leave a like on the video if you guys are new to the channel. Hit the bell right next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Make sure to follow me down on social media. Thank you to everyone who live tweeted with me tonight, right? You guys want to talk to me about about anime, wrestling, all that. And I'm looking for somebody who's going to be able to do the layouts for me going forward, man, because I have no idea what's going on with Sal Reacts. So I need somebody who's going to be able to do layouts, Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-view layouts for me. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure to follow me on social media and let me know so we can discuss those terms. All right, thank you guys for everything once again. Stay safe and healthy. I'll see you guys here for the Monday Night Raw review, Monday night, depending when you guys are listening to this. Thank you guys for the love and support. I'll see you guys later. Peace.